And here comes our first guest.
On that note,
timing.
Somebody else.
Come
in
and
our
take
room.
a seat, my friend.
Somebody else in our room.
I know. Come and take a seat.
Try to sit over there.
Yeah. Just pull that mic just round to you. Yeah, that's right. It's not that sensitive. Just grab it.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
No, don't
There you
worry.
go. There you go.
It's all like kitted out as well, ready, and I feel a bit.
Mate, honestly, the link goes out. Same as last year. Yeah, I want at 6 a.m. Get me in.
First thing, get me there.
So what time do you get up normally every day?
5 o'clock every day, pretty much. I got my most days I don't do PT till sort of 6. Most people are doing 6:30, but I've got this one guy, Bartek. He's got the Polish mentality. Come in, get stuff done early. I want to be in at 5:30. Let's get training. And that's it. So it kind of gets me in the mood. You know, he does two times a week, and then I've got a couple of classes I do early as well. So get up at 5, can have a coffee, get dressed, get ready, and then I'm there, roll in.
Now this is an important question. We talked about this earlier. How much sleep do you get a night? If you're going to be up that early, do you have a bedtime routine?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm one of those. I tend to get about 7 hours, so I'll go to bed about 10, and then I can get up at 5, and I'm okay. 7 hours is for me is about right. If I spend any longer in bed, then I wake up and I'm aching, and I don't feel good anyway. Any less, I can survive on sort of 6 for a couple of days, and then I'm sort of start getting a bit tired, a bit, you know. But I get it from my dad. Really, my dad used to be a roofer, so he used to be up every morning. I remember as a kid getting up early, and my dad used to be up drinking his tea before he goes to work at like 5, 6 in the morning. So I'm just used to kind of that thing, and I'm not really a night owl. I kind of, you know, by about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm normally ready to go to sleep anyway. So I'm normally just, you know, out like a light. But last sort of class client normally is about that sort of time anyway. So I get about an hour sort of with the missus, watch something on Netflix or just have a little chat, and then I can just pass out, and then that's it. That's it done. Yeah. So I think in that sense, you know, when you do a job like personal training or coaching or something like that, and you're in that environment, I mean, the busy times are going to be first thing in the morning and then evening. Yeah. So there you're kind of, your period. So by the time you finish that, you've been basically, you know, it's been 14, 16 hours of just being on and, you know, motivating people and talking and being involved and moving around. So I find it very easy just to switch off for a few hours and then I'm back on it again, you know, once I got that little kip.
Wow, straight in.
Yeah.
That's the mentality,
the energy, man. The energy, that's what we need at 6 in the morning. Love that. So for those who don't know, could you please introduce yourself to the Shifties community again?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And so why are you here?
Well, my name's Kevin Jeffrey. I have lived in St Neots now for 9 years. I now the owner of the Real Fit Gym in Eaton Soken.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It started there in September. It was sort of the progression I wanted for a long time, and Jo, who done an amazing job building the place and getting the community where it was, she decided she wanted to concentrate more on the Think Local that she does, the magazine. So it gave me the opportunity to finally step up, which I have done, and it's a scary but well worth the experience. You know, the Real Fit community that we have is, you know, of course, in my opinion, the best around, and it's a great place to be, and the members and the staff and everyone involved with it are fantastic, and it makes it pretty easy for me. But yeah, I mean, I love St Neots. I used to live in Hitchin before that, and it reminded me a lot of it. It was the market town kind of feel.
Yeah, a lot actually.
It's
a bit behind it. It's just catching up.
Oh, no, I think it's perfect. I mean,
true. I was in Hitchin myself only just before Christmas.
Yeah.
On a work day. Yeah, you're right. It's actually very similar, isn't it?
Yeah, it just has that real nice, you know, as I say, feel. Everyone's sort of friendly and wants to help out, and you know, I think that's what we fell in love with it straight away. And you know, we haven't been wrong. I mean, we've raised our 2 kids here, and they're both amazing. And again, all the kids that we meet, all the parents we meet are great. And you know, I couldn't have a bad word to say about the place or the community or anything else around. So so that's me really. And you know, before that, you know, as I say, I come from sort of Hertfordshire way, but you know, I've just sort of settled in and feel like I've been welcomed into something that's been great, and this is a big part of it. You know, great things like this that we can get involved with and be around and help as many people. We
appreciate your support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well. And you've donated a couple of prizes as well.
Yeah, of course.
Well, so appreciate that.
And you know, and the thing is that, you know, as I wanted to say today, you know, we obviously want to do the prizes, but the big thing really is to sort of say to everyone that the doors are always open at Real Fit. We're always available for people to come and talk to come and see about. If they've got any questions, we offer a 2-week free trial where people can just come and try us out for nothing and see what we're about. And you know, that's something that I wanted to really try and install and bring in, that idea that, you know, like what you're doing today, you know, it's okay if you just want to come and have a conversation. It's okay if you just want to open up a little bit and sort of, you know, find your place in this realm. I mean, I feel like I can talk to anyone about fitness and training and everything else, but you know, I think it can be brought out into a sort of more broad spectrum. You know, we can help people with different parts of their life through the fitness. You know,
kind of it's a natural. I mean, it's a natural transition.
Yeah.
In a conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
People, when you're working with their bodies.
Yeah.
You're working with their mind anyway.
100%.
You have to do that to activate the body, right?
100%.
Or sometimes it goes heart, then mind, then hand, but whatever.
It's therapy with iron, we normally call it. You know, you come in, you're lifting weights, you're getting involved in the exercise, and suddenly you find yourselves in these conversations that you would never speak to. You know, I mean, I feel like I've got quite a good relationship with a lot of the members and my personal training clients, but then it's weird that we only really know each other for an hour a week, yet they can tell me things that they would never tell some of their best friends.
PTs, barbers.
Yeah.
That's it, barbers.
that's right. Yeah.
PTs and button hairdressers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
You just do. You have this thing because you're seeing us in our most vulnerable position.
Yeah, I think so.
Either in pain or like horizontal in a chair and you're cutting my hair. There's a lot of responsibility and trust involved in that relationship.
I think so. Yeah,
and that unlocks a beautiful thing in a community.
Yeah. It's great, and you get a lot of the time people, you know, sort of thank you out of nowhere for something you've said or something you've talked about and sort of help them clear that through their minds, and they made a decision, and that is almost, you know, if not more rewarding than the, you know, just giving them a result of losing a couple of pounds or helping them get their eating in order or whatever it's going to be. That the helping of the psychological is part of that whole fitness thing, and that's what we, you know, as I say, that's, in terms of the fitness thing, that's, as a fitness trainer, as a coach, as a personal trainer, that's your job, is to kind of give people that belief and that mentality that it's okay, and that, you know, you can come from dark places, but you know, there's always a way through it, and with a bit of, you know, with conversation, with understanding why you're feeling that way, then that's where the doors start to get unlocked, and people can start feeling like they can make a decision for themselves, and they feel stronger physically, they feel stronger mentally. It's a powerful thing, and it's great. It's great that you get that opportunity to give that tool to people each time, and even to the point where, you know, I mean, as I came in today, I mean, really, you know, what I've learned from training is probably, you know, the biggest building blocks to where I've come mentally over the last, you know, 20, 30 years, because I've come from, I was at the beginning of the millennials. So we were, you know, from the Gen X before us and the boomers before us. We still had that kind of mentality because we were raised from those generations of bottle it up, you know, be a man.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Take it on, you know, and that's kind of how you build it into yourself. And there's a lot of people from that same generation that have that, and to be able to find a place where you can release and talk about the problems and just understand that it's not, you know, it's not a problem. It's not something that it's not a burden you have to give someone to explain, you know, I'm struggling here, or I need a little help, and all the way through my life, I've been really lucky that I've been given opportunities, and, you know, people are willing to help. But I hope that's because from the point of that they know that I do the same, you know, and I would always try and help people and give people all I can. And when the time comes where I need help, there's always someone there to kind of lend me that hand and give me that. And that's kind of the big important thing to understand, is that when you're, you know, as I say, probably, I don't know how long ago it was now. It was probably 12 years ago now, 13 years ago. I felt extremely lost in where I was going in life. I left school without too many grades. I, you know, again, from that generation, it was very much, if you weren't smart enough to go to university and get a proper job with you know, then you were kind of shifted out to kind of be a factory worker or someone, you know, that just did a mundane job, 9 to 5.
How did you, and that then, taking you back there, how, like, what conversations were you having? What happened that helped you find that confidence to go, you know, actually, I'm going to go down that slipstream? Was there a moment in that?
Yeah, well, it was funny enough. It was actually, I was about 28, and I had got excessively into enjoying myself, as you do in your 20s, to the point where
Literally just spoke about
We
that.
just been talking about that, yeah.
Literally just about 10 minutes ago.
yeah, and I probably pushed it. You know, again, I didn't go to uni, so I didn't. I didn't. But I went to unis and
Yeah.
enjoyed that
I did too. I
lifestyle.
toured.
Yeah, that's right.
All my mates were at uni, so I went to all the unis.
Love that.
Exactly. So, you know, but then I got to my late 20s and I was drinking heavy. I was smoking. I was still exercising because I love training. I was training for years on end, and I got myself into some really good shape in my 20s and finally found my place. But but because of all the excessive stuff I was doing as well, I used to be a sort of a power lifter. So I could eat a lot of food and lift heavy weights. That was my thing. But I got out of shape so much to the point that I went to a shop to get myself some wine and some cigarettes for a Friday night with the missus to kind of sit down and watch a movie. And I was speaking with a guy that used to be at the gym that I went to, and we were having a good conversation, a little jokey conversation about all the sort of the characters you meet in the gym. And he said to me, I've not been for a few years now. I've got family commitments and everything else like that. And then he said to me, he goes, so when did you stop going? And at that stage, I was still training sort of 3 or 4 times a week.
Well, hold on,
yeah, and I was thinking, I think I'm pretty fit. But then that kind of just was the confirmation that I'd hit my
Lost that
lowest
self-awareness
points.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I'd lost control of what it is what I wanted to do in life, because I felt like I was sort of stuck. Again, I left school, did a bit of college and stuff like that, floated around different jobs, but I never really found the place I wanted to be. I didn't feel fulfilled. So what I did instead was I thought, well, I'll work to live rather than live to work.
Yeah.
And then I went down a path where I just went too far down the going out all the time, having fun. And then mentally, I was in this real dark place. And it was again, like most stories, it was my wife who was my best friend, and again, someone I could sit down and talk to. And I broke down with her, kind of just explaining, I don't know where I am anymore. I feel a bit lost. And she said to me that, why don't you just go and be this personal trainer? It's something, you love fitness, you love training, that's the thing you want to do, and yet you're in this other job and you're miserable and you're not enjoying it. Why don't you just try it out? And her grandfather had passed away, so she had a little bit of inheritance. So she just said, look, we've got a little bit of money in the bank, spend it on this qualification and just try it. And if it doesn't work, then at least you better go.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And it was great, and it finally gave me again that fire, and then I completely transformed myself back towards that. Obviously I quit smoking, I stopped drinking so much. I put my time and effort into doing a career that I wanted to be involved with, and then it just sort of snowballed from there, and never looked back. But as I say, all my best decisions are from Louise. She sort of, as ever, you get that anchor, and she kind of just
We all
sits
have,
down.
we have that in common, don't we?
Yeah.
Powerful women in our life.
Yeah, that's right.
But the building up to that, to being able to have that conversation, because I think anyone who's been with a partner for that long has had to have a hard conversation like that, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like, what did it take to have that conversation? Like, where was your mindset before you had that conversation versus after you had the conversation? What I'm trying to get at is, obviously, a lot of today is about speaking up. Yeah. And that was an opportunity for you to speak up. Yeah. And it changed your life. Yeah. By just being vulnerable and opening up. Yeah. As you did.
I think it just gets to it got to a point. I mean, as I say, that spark where someone had sort of almost said to me, to my face, you look a mess, and you're. It was the straw that broke the camel's back in that sense. I think I felt that for a long time. I mean, my most fulfilled role before I became a personal trainer was I left college, qualified in IT and Windows and Microsoft and stuff like that, and I got a job doing tutoring sort of in a college, and I was helping the elderly and school leavers get their Windows qualifications and stuff like that, so they can learn the computer skills, and that was something I loved, because every day you meet people, you sit down, you just have conversations, you show them how to do things, you teach them skills. And I didn't really connect the dots at that stage, but that
changing lives by sounds of it, by doing that as well, changing their lives, because they're through a technology that they don't understand. You're helping them, help them better in life.
Yeah, exactly.
I suppose you've now moved on to that same philosophy. At the gym.
And I think that again, I always talked fondly of that job, and I always talked, But as I say, I think I'd got to a stage where I was doing something I didn't enjoy, and I was just compounding on me. And I think as in most times, it's just I don't think you mean to have the conversation because. Again, you're trying to bottle it up. You just suddenly.
Were you angry that this guy said this, or where were you in that cycle? Were you angry about it?
I was originally angry. Yeah, I think. But then I looked at myself and thought, you know what, I have lost my way, and that's what I mean. It flicked a switch in my mind that I kind of almost came out of my body and kind of looked at myself and thought, right, we're going down the wrong path here. We're not going in the right direction.
Amazing, great self-awareness.
Well, yeah, and. But then that was it, and then that's that brewed up. I think I'd had these conversations before. I remember having a conversation. It was funny. We watched the episode of Friends, and it was the episode where Chandler left his career that he hated and went and did a job that he loved in marketing. And I said, "Oh, that
interning or something."
I said, "Oh, that never happens. You can never sort of just leave what you're doing." And so I'd already made these conversations with Louise, and she just said, you can make this change. You can do this, and it just took me having to have that conversation. As I say, I found it very easy to bottle it up in that way, and it was just, I think in the end it was almost a case where there was someone to reach out, and I think that's again a huge important part of why community is so important, and things like this are so important for let people kind of understand that there's a place you can go to and just have a conversation, and it doesn't have to be about particularly straight away your problems or the situation you're in.
It's better you're there happy.
Yeah.
Stay happy.
I say with the mental sort of groups that I run, I'm seeing a lot of men who won't talk about how they're feeling for weeks and weeks and weeks. They just want to be around other men who are going through something at the moment and gone, actually, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I'm just not ready to open up yet. And
you speaking up, or someone or this situation, like you're speaking out, all these people speaking up.
Yeah.
You might be given permission to someone who's sat there for weeks.
100%, and that's important for people to understand as well. Is that they're not you're not coming into that community to be the loudest in the room. You're not there to lead it. You're not there to often the most interesting people you ever meet are the people that don't say a word for months on end, years on end sometimes, and then you sort of sit down and one day just have a conversation with them, and they have these amazing backstories and places they've been and things they've done and ideas. And thoughts and help you out a lot because you kind of they're seeing it from an angle that you maybe never looked at it before, and that's where I think again it's important to understand that there are these opportunities to come and speak, but you don't have to. You can come and listen and just see what other people are saying, and then that gives you that momentum to sort of build and give the confidence to say, actually, I feel like I can contribute here, because every single person has the opportunity to help people
absolutely
in one way or another. Though you don't think your life is as important as someone else's, or you don't think you've got as much life experience as someone else, you will have information, you will have experiences that will help someone down the line. Again, our members at the gym, we're often having conversations and they'll say things to me and I think, I've never thought of it that way. I've never looked at it that way before, but it's exactly right. And I think that's an important part of it. People think that you need to be a type 1 or someone who's out there and sort of always trying to drive forward, but everyone's got their own personalities, their own ways of looking at things, their own experiences that will bring something forward to the group. And whether you say whether you talk every day or whether you just have the odd word every once a month and say something, that can be as powerful. But find that you need to find that community, you need to find that place you can be, and you are comfortable to talk to people. You may feel that it's a family member. You may not be lucky enough to have a family around you that you can trust that much. So having friends or other people outside of it that you can talk to is great. A personal trainer, a hairdresser, whoever it's going to be. But just find that community where you feel comfortable enough to be able to be yourself and to have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Because that's another thing as well. I'm a type 2. I'm a people pleaser, so I tend to be what other people want me to be, and I think that's maybe why I fell into this role and teaching roles quite well, because I look at people and I can almost read their kind of where they're at.
You're moving towards.
Yeah, so I can, if people want to, I often joke that, being from Hertfordshire, we're kind of a mishmash of Cockneys and the sort of the rich and posh. So we can kind of slip in. When I'm on the phone, I'm very posh and I'm hello. And when I'm out in the pub, I'm like, oh, mate, oh, yeah. And I think that's, you know, Lou says it to me all the time. She says she sees me change when I'm with a group of lads and we're down the pub or we're talking. I'll go a bit like this. And
but that's an important thing. But I think that's an important thing to raise, like understanding. It's what you've talked a lot about there across every aspect is self-awareness.
Yeah.
You've said, oh, I know this about myself and I remember this about myself and I know where I am now. Yeah. I'm self-aware.
Yeah.
And like, what would you say is the importance of that self-awareness before anything? Because you said, right, I've become, it might be someone disrupted you and said, hey, mate, you know, when did you stop going to the gym?
Yeah.
Or just understanding that. How did you come to learn that you're a type 2, for instance? Is that through discovery? Is that through training?
I think that's it's very much
curiosity.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time, obviously, or spent a lot more time in the past when I had the time to sort of reading and trying to understand the physical part of training. But then over the last sort of 10 years or so, I felt like, I had I've got the training stuff sorted out. I know what I'm doing with that. You know, you pick something up, you put it back down again, and then, you know, have a drink of water and do it again. You know, that's training in a nutshell. But the mental side of it, and actually why I choose the training methods I like, why I was very much someone who never really stuck to a plan. I kind of always was fluttering around. I never I found CrossFit and I've really enjoyed that because of the mass variety of it. And then I realised that leaks in again from training. I've realised that it comes into all aspects of life. I find it very difficult to do the same thing every single day. I like throwing a little bit of variety. I like being, and so I sort of read up on sort of types and I know psychologists have I think there's like 7 sort of different brackets they look at, and then from there they know that you're an introverted, extrovert, or whatever. They sort of have these different things. And then there was a coach called Charles Poliquin who was he trained athletes and stuff like that, and he came up with the 5 elements, which were the Chinese symbols of fire, wood, water, and then he kind of fit these personality types in there. And now another coach called Christian Thibodeau he's Canadian. He actually then put it into different types. So then you have a type 1, which is your alpha type. You have your type 2s, which are more of your, as I say, people pleasers, and then you have your type 3, which are risk avoiders. And from there, you're never really going to be 100% one of those things. You've always got little elements of each one. But again, it was through that wanting to learn a little bit more about myself that I then it opened doors, and I was like, oh wow, this I can see when I meet people now. I can kind of go, okay, I think I know where your sort of personality type kind of fits into this spectrum. So I know now how to kind of address it and kind of look at your training and look at your nutrition and try and help you find a way that works for you. And that, I think, I think you need that bit of self-awareness in a way. But again, it came from a point of pain. It came from a point of darkness. And I think that, again, that's something important to understand for people, is that, that failure point, that point where you're making mistakes. And again, now coming into business is something I've got to relearn again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All that what you described is fine.
Yeah.
That's going to be very applicable.
Yeah. So, you find those points where you fail, you've got to understand, why did I fail? And try and address it rather than just concentrate on that failure point. And I was very much in that mindset at that time of, my career's failed. I've never really concentrated enough at school, and that's why I'm where I'm at in life. And people that did, now they've got great careers and they've got money, and you think that's sort of the thing. You think that's where everyone wants to be, but then you speak to those people and they're depressed because they didn't concentrate enough on their social skills or their family,
everyone's got a frame of reference,
or and they don't see their kids enough, or whatever it's going to be. So you realise everyone's got their problems, no matter where you were in life, and it's the actual point of, understand it's okay to have a problem, and it's then even more okay to then find people to kind of talk to about that problem and just get it off your chest, because that will open more doors than any amount of money, any career path that you want to go, anything you do. It doesn't really matter if you're not willing to kind of open up and realize that you're suffering at some point. Even now, like I say, where I am in life, I'm exceedingly happy. I've got an amazing family, I've got great friends, and I've got a great community of people that I help and again get involved with things like this, which is fantastic. But even now, I've taken on a new business, I've taken on some new ideas, new ventures, and there's something in my mind all the time of, failing and showing that I'm not good enough to do the thing that I've spent my whole life trying to build towards. And you know, so it's just good to have, you know, just to say that to people and just go, you know, I'm struggling a little bit here. You know, can you help me and help me get rid of this thing? And that's something that, again, through training, through the experience that I've had, you know, that's my biggest message to people is that, you know, it doesn't matter where you are in life, you're going to have these thoughts.
Yeah.
So just admit it and say, right, okay, I want to sort it out. But, you know, you're never going to fix everything. But at least if you're open about it, you can figure out ways around it. You can see what your obstacles are. You can see where you suffer. It's important to really build that self-awareness of yourself. And, you know, you're never going to be 100% satisfied. You're never, you know, and that's, again, something that...
It's also quite nice not to be. I mean, as someone, you know, I'm a striver like you. I don't want to... I feel comfortable in being dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got great comfort in that. I always said to Christine, like, I can't. I always have to keep myself hungry.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be hungry.
Yeah.
Because I just know who I am.
Yeah.
If I get comfortable,
Yeah.
I will 100% sit in my pants and play FIFA.
Yeah.
With Rico at 2 a.m. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
So I find ways to keep myself hungry.
Absolutely,
Yeah, I think that's it. I think you know, having a goal, having something that you can work towards. It's again through training. You know, we always talk about that sort of that goal set mentality. But for me, it doesn't have to be a clear kind of this is what I want in this period of time. It's just like you say, where can I improve a little bit? Where can I change something? Where can I, you know, what gaps do I have that I can fill? And as long as
I was to say that actually, sorry to butt in, just about your gym, because I know that I work with a guy from who owns a gym in Biggleswade, and he says that he gets the amount of people that don't go to his gym because they're scared of that cliche of it's bodybuilders with big muscles, and it really isn't that. That at all, is it? I know it's not, and I want to try and emphasise that to everybody watching now, because it really isn't.
It's you know, as I say, with Real Fit, when I first moved to St Neots, I kind of saw it and I thought that's, you know, that looks like a nice gym. That's something I want to be. It's sort of a functional fitness. It's basically, you know, a warehouse full of kettlebells and barbells and stuff like that. And again,
I was like a CrossFit fan.
Yeah, that's right. And it kind of it was sort of where I wanted to be, and I got there. And when you're there, as it was with any other gym, I think that this sort of the problem with people is, in terms of fitness, in terms of that, is that that's what is sold to them anyway. I mean, when you see
they think it's the end goal, don't they?
Yeah,
And it's really not.
you see, you know, attractive young people in lycra, you know,
What's on
doing
the
crazy exercises.
poster?
Yeah,
Basically.
and it's important to understand that, you know, 99.9% of the time when you walk into the gym, it's not that at all. It's often a group of people just having a good time and wanting to, you know, just wanting to share an experience almost in a way. It's kind of quite therapeutic in that way. That's why,
community.
yeah, and that's why that's why at Real Fit we offer the 2-week free trial. Come in for 14 days, you get an unlimited membership for that time. You try as many classes as you want, because we're a trainer-led gym, so you don't come in and just work out on your own and sort of, you know, plot around and not really know what you're doing. We want it to be very much you come in, there's a coach there to greet you, you go through the session, they can help you out, they can answer any questions you got. The other members are fantastic. Again, like I say, they're super helpful and they want to get you involved. We have people that are, you know, 18 and you know, young and fit and mobile, and we have people that are 80. We have a senior movement class that we do 3 times a week, and they come in and they just want to be able to move again and just, you know, a little bit less pain-free, or build some coordination, or, you know, all shapes and sizes, all ages, all sexes, and you know, demographics and everything. The idea of a gym is that it's that. And again, I don't want to dismiss anything, but it's sort of like a place like religion used to be, I suppose, like a church used to be, where people come.
Talk about it as well.
Yeah.
So you asked me earlier. I will wrap up on this point.
Yeah.
I can't believe the time, but I talked about spirituality earlier. It's a proper sort of thing you talk about at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And not by a religious sense, but a sense of community.
Yeah.
A sense of belonging.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, you know, you asked me earlier what young people want in the future.
Yeah.
I actually see the opportunity for gyms like this.
Absolutely.
And that philosophy to not be the replacement for the pub,
No.
but to be what a pub meant to us
Our
20 years
generation.
ago,
Yeah,
to what young people are now. So a lot of the young people we work with, they all work out.
Mm-hmm.
They all look after. I say they all. A lot of them look after themselves. They all work out. Their mindset's phenomenal. And actually, it's because they love doing that.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They go with their friends.
Yeah.
They go to the gym.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Right, we have to end it
Yeah,
on
I know,
that.
I know.
This is
Can't believe how quick
crazy.
it's gone.
Mate, I thank you so much again.
Yeah,
for
thanks
your
very
support.
much.
No, no
Honestly,
worries at all,
absolutely
guys.
amazing.
And anything.
always, man.
Yeah, I'm always available. I'm
I
always,
appreciate it,
come
man.
just come and speak to me, whatever it's going to be. I mean, I love things like this. I love the fact you guys can make this happen. It's amazing what you guys do,
Appreciate it, man.
in the time you turn it
Don't-
around. It's
well,
brilliant.
tell me that again in 60
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, Luke stupidly agreed to come on for the full whack. He got completely.
That's
into it.
great.
Now we must get you to sign that shirt
Yep.
before you go.
Yes, no worries. That's fine.
We're gonna get every guest to sign this shirt, and you got to pick a colour on that remote for the light.
Oh, okay. No
Every
worries.
guest it changes.
What, you can do that now, yeah? Let's go
Yeah.
for...
Might have to
I
write
don't
a
know
point
if
out
it's
there somewhere. What have you got? Oh, here we go, blue. Ah, yeah, that's nice like that. Yeah, nice,
Nice
nice
and
bright
simple.
morning.
Simple. I
Right,
think-
I'm going to go get our other guests ready. We're going to cut to break. Thank you again, my
No,
man.
thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
Appreciate
As always, great.
I'm
Thank
just
you very
gonna
much.
cut. We'll be back in 5 minutes with Jamie Queen.